Welcome back to Unmuted Nation. It is time for yet another cabinet segment. And like I've been doing all week, I'm simplifying things. Like I had to give it to you straight yesterday, raw. Of course, I care what the nation thinks about things, but I think too much noise at this time because we all have opinions. We're all frustrated. We're all kind of confused about the decisions that are happening, or why governments are making certain decisions, why police departments are making certain decisions. Even you, why is your employer making certain decisions? And so, of course, I just brought our own Boss FM's own Tiffanie Lanelle back to talk about the issues. And she's joining me in the cabinet today. Tiff, first off, how are you?
I'm present.
Present. And I think it's safe to say, and you I hate to go back here. You know, we talked a couple of weeks ago, and I was distraught over footage that was released over Ahmaud Arbery.
Right.
And mind you, we know the incident happened back in February. I've been covering it since then. We've collectively covered it on this network. But the footage itself is really what kind of took me into a dark place for at least 3 days. Like frustrated, dark. And it seems to me that since then it's been non-stop. Like it's like not at every turn, every corner, every crevice, there is an issue. There's a problem. There is something about Black people that the collective has decided they're either going to attack us or make. And I'm hesitant to say that this is a decision that's just been made, because it's always been here. We know, right. Data tells us, not just data, true history tells us that it's always been happening. We just haven't always captured it with footage.
Exactly.
In the last 2 weeks, how have you felt? Like what has been just your common persona? How have you felt over the last 2 weeks?
I've really had to be intentional about my focus on my mental health and my spiritual well-being, because in the words of James Baldwin, it is a constant state of anger to be a Black person in this country. That's not a direct quote, but that basically sums up what James Baldwin says. And I just have felt that way for so long, and I didn't always have that verbiage to use. But over the last few weeks, I'm tired. I am just tired, and it's hard. It's hard to get up in the morning. It's hard to face this country. Sometimes it's hard to face being a Black woman in this country. I feel protective. I just, I'll get into that later, but I just had a conversation about being Black in America and protecting, he was a young Black man. So I was talking about protecting himself. So I'll talk about that later in the show, but it's the past few weeks have been mentally exhausting and challenging.
I think what is frustrating for me it's not just being Black in America and the weight of a current global pandemic that we're all facing, and you're trying to deal with your own mental health and anguish and anxiety and frustrations of just living like everybody else. Like everybody's trying to navigate it, whether you're maybe you feel like everything should be open and nothing's open, or you feel like nothing should be open and you're in a state or a city that's opening. So there's so many feelings that are being attached. And it's like for somebody that hasn't left the house in really 13 weeks to do anything more so than going a block away to a grocery store, it's crazy to feel like to feel this way just because I see these images, these Black images under attack in every way, left, right. And it's like, from the stupidest, comment of somebody and their Black slander and their intent to harm, and I made collective decisions and a conscious decision years ago not to let words like and I had to make the personal decision. I've talked personally with you about this before. a word is not going to, I'm not going to give other people the words or the ability to hurt me with words. So I'm not frustrated. And I know we're in this cancel culture era right now where people find out that somebody said something, especially when they were young and ignorant. And mind you, I'm not justifying. I'm not giving a pass. I'm not inviting anybody to the cookout. I've never been one to extend invites personally. That's just never been me. But I don't give people a pass, but I don't let it affect me. Like if a white person chooses to throw the N-word at me, which I say it boldly because the sting of it needs to remain. When a white person says nigger to you, it should be something that you don't have to get upset about it. It's not going to make me throw a punch. But the fact that people are still doing it and they find joy in doing it and giving, and I'm alluding to people finding older, and I didn't even get into all of the hype around Doja Cat and what they found and her trolling on, and people are one way or the other. You know, people are fickle. I'm not really into the cancel culture, but I think that
it doesn't work all the time.
People have alleged that she has some type of mental illness. I think mental illness or not, the comfort of someone saying that and using it
right
with the intent to harm, that is the problem. Like, that is the problem. And when we talk about Karen Amy Cooper, the intent to harm is the problem.
Right.
I regularly say racism is not a Black people problem.
Right.
I think Black people will have to be a part of the solution. We'll have to gain some patience and make some conscious decisions to help these people that struggle with the sickness of racism. Absolutely. But when we change our verbiage and the way that we address these issues and the way that we respond to these issues and the way that we take action against these issues, because our outrage has gone unacknowledged,
right,
unresolved, and remained incomplete. It's just, and so I feel like that's where we have been for so long. I'm all about solutions at this point.
It's interesting. I remember, and I will probably for as long as I live, never forget this response that an old friend of mine said. I was in middle school and a white girl called one of my Black friends a nigger. And her response took me aback. I know it took everybody else aback. We were on the school bus and she looked at her plain as day, calm as ever, and said, "For your information, a nigger is an ignorant person and I am very intelligent. And because you chose to try and use that word against me to demean me, that actually makes you the ignorant person and therefore you are the nigger." And she walked away. And I have never forgotten that story. And I have never forgotten that response. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure that my response would have been that calm. I've been called a nigger in my life multiple times. I'm
never calm about that. I think in my younger days, I was never calm about my reaction. And I think that, and for people that are watching and don't know, Tiffanie Lanelle and I have history, meaning we have been around each other since our high school days. I would say off and on, maybe 4 years in between that. But for the most part, she's the face that I've seen for over half of my life. Two different life trajectories, but at one point, it's a story that I will always tell, and it's also a cautionary tale that I like to give to Black people that think they're different. This goes to American Black people that got a little money and you have designated yourself or been designated part of the middle class or upper middle class, and you feel like you're different. No one's going to lodge that insult at you because they don't feel like that like you are one. But you're just a product of your environment. You know, once you step out of that bubble, for most people, the perception hasn't changed. That also goes to my Caribbean American friends, my friends from Haiti and Jamaica and of Haitian descent, Jamaican descent, from any island, when we know that, and I'm happy that you were able to be a part of a society that civilized and colonized, hate using that word, prior than we could. And there was Black affluence in these Caribbean communities before, and oftentimes they come to America thinking that they're different. But in America, brown, Black skin makes you Black. You have the Black experience. And I've talked to countless, obviously I have friends, best friends that are of Caribbean descent, first generation Americans. And as much as they've been taught to embrace heritage, their experience is that of the Black person. And so it's not something that you ask for. It's not something you can really be removed from. Understanding that and keeping that in mind, I think that knowing that what we've dealt with, and I kind of came to this realization over the last couple of days, we have different tools available. All the homage and honor and gratefulness goes to our ancestors, those that fought in the civil rights movement, those that helped to free the slaves. Total honor. I would never disrespect. And I think even sometimes and I would say millennials, but I would go lower, Generation Z. Sometimes the zealousness of our generation is people are disgusted by it. Right. Because they're quick to say something like, well, I'm not my ancestors, I'll beat your ass. Well, in context, you probably wouldn't have.
Right.
Just in the way that oppressive society was set up, you probably wouldn't have. However, in today's society, yeah, you shouldn't say that. And that's me checking for you boomers watching. We do check each other, so don't
say that today. Stay alive to fight the next day.
To that point, we now have different tools.
Right.
So what has passed now with that mentality of us being less than, and when those slurs are lodged at us, there's always an assumption of ignorance, lack of resources. And I have said repeatedly that the absolute best intelligence organization in the world is the collective Black intelligence agency of Twitter. There is none better that is able to find you, your employer, your mama, your daddy, your childhood address, your yearbook photos, your previously mailing address, social security number, and bank account information in less than 60 minutes.
Yes, that is correct.
So I hope some of them are watching, because in your quest to be bold and racist, know that you will be found. And I said on my show yesterday that I will make it I will do my level best to make it, because I really don't have anything to do. When it comes into the grand scheme of things, I have nothing to do but aid those in attempting to find, vocalize, and essentially drag you racist people.
And I'm
sorry.
When you do something like what Karen Amy Cooper did, I don't understand why these people are not being arrested for filing a police report.
Immediately.
It's illegal. You cannot file a false police report. You cannot call 911 and basically lie. You lied. That is illegal. So I don't understand, this Karen has been fired from her job. Okay, whoop-de-damn-do. She's going to go and get another one.
You being fired from your job means nothing to me. I don't care about you or your job. I really don't care about any ailments that you have, mental disease, or like if you're bold enough to be racist, dramatic, and lose your mind on a 911 call because you know that when they get here, they're coming after my ass, I'm bold enough to end it all for you.
Yeah, I just, and it was a bird watcher. You called 911 on a bird watcher? That's one of the, you know how calm and peaceful you have to be a bird watcher?
Do you know how patient they are? Do you know how patient they are? Do you know how patient they are?
It's illegal, and I don't understand why. Because if I call and say, this white woman is harassing me, this white man is harassing me, definitely if I say this black man is harassing me, this black woman is harassing me, they're going to come, and if it's not happening, they're arresting me.
Absolutely.
Why did you call and lie on this person? Now I'm going to cite you, or I'm going to arrest you for filing a false police report or for calling 911 and wasting their time, because that's wasting their time. There are people actually dying, and you're calling because you want to lie and say this black man is harassing you when all he asked you to do was follow the law and put a leash on your dog that you then ended up choking on the video. I feel bad for the dog. I feel way worse for the dog than I do for Karen.
What's crazy is most times people, especially of that persuasion, care more about the dog than they do about the black life. In this instance, she didn't care about either.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. But yeah, it just baffles me why.
Does it make you feel different that now it seems that white people are acknowledging some of trash that they have to essentially own? You know, there are white people that are quick to say, well, I'm not like those white people. Listen. You label black people, then we take the responsibility for all. Yes, you are. Yes, the hell you are.
That's yours. You are your brother and sister.
You can talk to your racist ass grandmother.
Yes. Yes.
Or she can get sprayed with Glade or whatever I saw a grandmother getting sprayed with a few weeks ago because she kept calling a black man, a younger black man. This woman was in a wheelchair and still hateful. And I know that a lot of times people.
I'm sorry, because I just remember seeing the video and he was in his car and I was just like, oh, please don't run this woman over in your wheelchair. So when he got out and sprayed her with Lysol or whatever it was, I actually hollered.
And people are like, well, she's elderly. Yeah, I understand you get to say whatever you want when you're older than 70, but over 70, it's like, you know, I know that it's like, you know, infants and elderly. You know, those are the two populations that you have to take care of. However, the difference is infants literally have no knowledge and elders have all the knowledge. So if your elderly grandmother, and I'm very honest about this, white lady, white sir, if you are elderly and racist, this is not 1956.
It's not.
I will wheel you to the MARTA stop and take the brake on your wheelchair off. And that will be that. And I think people don't realize, like going back to just in being serious, right? We take responsibility. We speak out. I'm frustrated. Yeah, I'm frustrated with Atlanta right now. I'm very frustrated with Atlanta. I'm very frustrated with South Carolina. I'm very frustrated with Houston. I also understand that people take their cues from leadership, even if it's bad leadership.
Right.
So black people keep telling you like that Rona has not diminished in any way. It's not less powerful. It's not less contagious. It's none of it is less. But we're still out here just losing our damn minds.
Yeah. This is why you don't look at push alerts while you're recording a show. Trump is just absolutely ridiculous. Anywho, those who don't know, Jimmy Fallon has apologized for wearing blackface in the year of our Lord 2000. Jimmy Fallon is a comedian. That does not excuse his actions. However, for someone who constantly fights for what is right, for all races, for all people, I have, to my knowledge, not heard a negative thing come out of his mouth when it comes to people, especially marginalized populations. Just stop. Like, there's literally no reason to attack Jimmy Fallon. It happened in 2000. I don't believe that there was any ill will or ill intent from what I have read about it. It's not, you know, there's no excuse for blackface, of course. But I just think this one is, you're reaching. It's a reach.
Well, do you feel like your feelings on Jimmy Fallon, them reaching towards Jimmy, just because you like Jimmy? Because some people may be like, well, you know, what's the difference between Jimmy and Doja Cat? He can get it too.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know too much about Doja Cat. Probably couldn't even spell it correctly. But I think that
I guess the better question is, do you think there's levels to, do you apply levels to acceptable white foolery?
Yes.
I'm going somewhere with this. So
yes, because in this scenario, he was doing it for an SNL kid, and I believe the person that he was imitating was a part of the show. And it's someone who, if he had a problem with it, he would have said something. And to my knowledge, Chris Rock hasn't said anything saying, I can't believe he did. Like, it wasn't anything like that. So I do think that I think that we have to look at intent. There's a difference between Becky going to a Halloween party dressed in blackface and Jimmy Fallon doing a careful segment or skit on SNL 20 years ago. I think that, especially, you know, back then, which 20 years doesn't sound like a long time, and in truth it isn't, but as far as our political correctness and language, it's SNL.
To your point, where I agree with you, I think comedians in so many ways get a pass. And I think if we want to hate blackface, let's designate a year and say, from this point forward, I never want to see it again. But right. All of this going backwards and then looking back, there are things that most people have said. Now, honestly, I'm probably going to own everything that I said and justify why I said it when I said it. I've been pretty clear on things coming out of my mouth for a long time. So I don't really like, if I said it and I was meaning to be offensive, at the moment, I was meaning to be offensive. If that's going to disqualify me for something in the future, so be it.
Right. I just don't think it was meant to be offensive in this case.
I think I want to talk more about how we apply levels to frustration and levels to ignorance and levels to racism. So we're going to take a quick break and come back, because I've said a little bit about how I feel about Joe Biden. And, you know, people, even those that don't vote and have never voted before, are really upset with what he did and how he did it. So many things. And people all over the place are frustrated about so many things, right? From Ahmaud Arbery, we're still feeling that. We're still feeling the pain and angst and anxiety that goes with what's attached to watching that. Here we are, 2 weeks later. The presumptive Democratic candidate for president has now said, you ain't black if you ain't voting for him. And then over the weekend, Amy Cooper versus Christian Cooper. No relation. How ironic, but we're dealing with that. And then most of us woke up yesterday to the news of George Floyd. And Tiffanie Lanelle's still here. We're talking just about how that was dealt with. And I'll be honest, Tiff, I will not be able to, I can't watch this footage.
No.
I can't. Every time I turn and I've watched, I've got a news monitor on behind me. Every time I look and they're showing any part of it, I get sick to my stomach and I just got to walk away. And some people are like, I heard this from, I'll say older. I won't say boomer, but I'll say older. You know, that it shouldn't bother you like that. It's been happening. You can't. I know that y'all didn't see it happening because there wasn't foot. You saw aftermath. You never saw this. So for you to tell me not to let it bother me when I see it, that I don't have the ability to do that. I don't. And we work in the news business.
Right.
And we have to, and I was saying yesterday, I was telling my listeners yesterday, we have to make the decision not to post this. We're not posting this video.
Right.
It's too harmful. There should be a warning every time something like this is aired.
Agreed.
And who knows? Like I said, I don't have anything to do. It's not above me to call on these news organizations to stop airing Black mutilation. Stop that. Just stop airing
modern day
harm, like without a warning, without a graphic notice, and some organizations, oh, this is graphic content. We want you to be advised. You may want to move children alone. You really don't have to show it.
Right.
Because the people that need to take action have been seeing it and haven't done shit.
So here's my thing. One, to your first comment of some saying that we shouldn't be impacted by this. I am still impacted when I see footage of my ancestors, my family members getting hosed down by officers. I still get impacted by seeing that. So I'm definitely impacted when I see modern day lynchings in still form or in video form. Even just seeing the picture of the officer on this man's neck is difficult for me. And Alex, when we were talking this morning, I said, even just brushing my teeth, I almost just wept. Because
there's someone that's supposed to be here having this discussion with us today text me overnight. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not that I can't be honest and transparent. I don't want to break down.
Right.
When I'm trying to explain how this feels.
Right.
There's a tweet. It's a little vulgar that I didn't put it up. And I don't know if I have it. I think I have it. I don't want to put it on the screen, but it was from an 18-year-old Black boy named Keon. And I retweeted it yesterday. I sent it to you. I meditate, we often meditate on things that give us higher thought and higher energy, right? I sat and meditated on this tweet all day. Because when it comes to, and I think in so many ways, like a lot of our peers and people in Generation X and Millennial don't know how to tell these boomer parents that I just can't see myself bringing a child into this. Yeah. And I know, we hear often, it's been this way. Yeah, I feel like people bringing children into the world in the 60s, this was just the world. But I have known a different world, a seemingly different world, where Black was not under attack all the time. Right. So I can't consciously, not knowing that I still think twice when I leave, how I carry myself. Who am I going to encounter? Am I going to be in danger? What's going to happen if I get pulled over? And I saw on my social media feeds yesterday, I saw Black man after Black man. I ain't going out like that. I understand what's been put into us over the last 15 years. Just comply and stick it out, deal with it after the fact. And all I saw yesterday from my peers, I'm not going out like that. They're going to have a reason to shoot me. They're going to have a reason to kill me. They're going to have to really kill me because I'm going to have to lose my mind. And then maybe when it's reported, everyone will say it's justified, but that's just the way it's going to have to be because I'm not going out like that. I'm not. In that same token, why would you want to bring a child into this? You can't be there at every moment. You just can't do it. So the pain and agony that, and it's not just Black men. That would be ignorant to say that. Breonna Taylor, weeks ago, brutalized in her home. In her home, a no-knock warrant issued. Multiple bullets shot into her body. What could have been an alternative there?
Not that.
There's nothing that she could have done.
Like, where do you go? You're in your house. You're in your house. And I mentioned earlier in the show, I was having this conversation with a family member, and we were talking about, proper responses. We no longer have even that, because before, when there was not as much footage, it was comply, do what you have to do and just follow the instructions. Well, don't break the law. We are dying for jogging. We are dying for breathing. We are dying for complying. We are dying for being in our homes. We are dying for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. We are dying for using our words. We are dying for asserting our rights. We are dying, and we are tired. We're tired. And it is exhausting to be Black in this country. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to wake up and think about my nephew, my nephews, my brothers, my nieces, my cousins, my family members who are, as they get older and they are driving, they're out on their own. They're, like you said, we can't be around them all the time. I'm tired. I'm tired of worrying about myself. I'm tired of worrying about those around me. I'm tired of worrying about my community. I'm tired. I am sick and tired of not being able to breathe in this country freely. This is not the land of the free. It just isn't. Not for Black, not for brown, not for tinted. It's just not that for us. We can't do shit in this country without being murdered, modernly lynched, and killed, or stalked and harassed. It's ridiculous. So I don't want to hear racism is over. I don't want to hear any of that, you shouldn't be impacted and we just have to do what we have to do and it just is what it is. No, my family members, some who are still alive today, are disgusted that in the year 2020, I, as a millennial, am still fighting the same fights that they had to fight, enduring the same trauma, enduring the same disgusting treatment that
in
they
the same way.
In the same way.
In the same way.
In the same way.
And so
I was really trying not to cry on this show today.
The thing is, I try to think back to the time that I did not know, did not feel,
right,
did not experience.
We would have to think back long, because even in high school, we were being called niggers. It was being spray painted on our building. And we were being told to, calm down. We're all in this together. No, you're not.
Really can't. Like, I literally can't. I cannot bring myself to subject myself to direct oppression. And it's part of the reason why I have such a struggle with where my hometown, where like I have an internal struggle constantly, because it's something that's a part of me, a place that I love to go, that I want to be, that every single day I see the makings, like the recipe is there for these races to continue. The recipe, some of our states are continuing to cook up fresh batches of racism by passing oppressive laws, by keeping, and even down to this damn pandemic that we're all dealing with. Racism is fueled into it as Black and brown bodies are essential workers being called back to work for less because a certain party believes that they're receiving more and more of an incentive not to work. by receiving government assistance. And it's just like, what is enough? And then you have black people, you have black lawmakers, legislators, senators standing behind these oppressive policies like, well, if we just pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, nigga, fuck you. Like literally, those are my words for you, Tim Scott. Like, I was not really trying to call your name, but as I watched the justification of the mistreatment of our people over and over and over again.
Sometimes by our people. And I'm gonna probably get in trouble for this. I don't care. I almost am at the point where I equate Tim Scott to Booker T. Washington. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that, if we can just, assimilate and we can just do what they ask.
I do understand that type of thinking. Don't misunderstand me, and don't I have no apology for what I just said, by the way. Like, as right. Much as the delivery, I'm well equipped to deliver my point without the expletive. At times, the expletive makes the point.
Well,
so when we come to these type of legislators, and that's probably going to live on, right? Here I am running for something in 10 years. Well, you said this, and I'm in it. Play this part too when you find that. I meant it. I really did mean it.
Period.
Because at the same time, and it goes into a cultural thing where my issues run deep.
Right.
Instead of, the job of the black church during slavery was to keep the niggas in line. Now, I'm going to just call it what it is. At this point, and I'm going back to where I was talking yesterday about resources to combat this nonsense, we have the resources to combat racism. We have the resources to shut Karen Amy Cooper down. We have the resources to stop this racism and this better. And I'm not looking for Jess Sharpton to stand up and Jesse Jackson to stand up. This morning, somebody was on my damn media talking about Sean King is the same as Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Like, people, come on. Like, come on. Just come on. Just come on. Just come on. Just come on. The church has the responsibility, if you're going to be the church of Jesus, okay? And I'm saying this because we got to move on. I can't even stay here for too long. The problem is we want to be safe in these spaces, and even we find it on the Republican side. I need to go back to church. I want to worship my Savior. Well, your Savior often didn't worship inside of the church house. In fact, he said it's better that you are together. His words, not mine. Jesus was actually a liberal. That hurts a lot of people.
A Jewish one.
Liberal, meaning he was liberating to people.
To the marginalized, to the broken, to the sick, to the...
Okay, all right. So let's put a button on this. That was not even on our roadmap. I think that as we look to tackle these issues and work through them, like I said, I'm all in. I really don't have anything else to do. If I had something else to do, it's cancel. What I'm canceling is oppression to us. And I told you yesterday, when I texted you this yesterday morning, I meant this. I may go down just fighting for us. That may be the end of the Alex Hank story. And if it is, then so be it. Because I'd rather not just fear walking and living and existing. I'm tired of that.
Right.
I'm tired of that. And so I think that kind of goes into, we have to talk about George Floyd, because this man, and there was additional footage released this morning of before the incident. I did see that footage, again, unintentionally, of them apprehending him, walking up to the car. Mind you, they were called to the situation because it was alleged that he may be committing fraud. Now, he's dead. They walk up to this Mercedes truck. I actually had the same truck back years ago. So you know exactly the truck.
I do. My mother also used to have the truck years ago.
They're sitting on both sides. Officers come and take the men out, cuff them, have them stand against the wall. You see that, like
right there, cuff them, subdued. So how did he end up dead when he was cuffed, bound, cuffed, subdued?
He's dead. He's dead.
And let's be clear, I do not believe for a minute that he died a short time later at the hospital. It is said that he was laying on the ground, appearing to be unresponsive for about 8 minutes.
I had to end the show yesterday when I read that line.
8 minutes. For those who don't know, 5 minutes without your brain getting oxygen causes brain damage. Just 5 minutes. So if he was laying there seemingly unresponsive when the whole time prior to this, he had been saying, I cannot breathe. I can't breathe. Please, I can't breathe. My neck hurts. I am in pain. I cannot breathe. People around them at the deli, witnesses saying, he can't breathe. Look at his nose. His nose is bleeding. And
they said it repeatedly. All accounts literally say that people are here. Get your knee off his neck. He can't breathe. Cannot breathe. He could not breathe at all.
8 minutes? 8 minutes. Do you know how long 8 minutes is without breath, without oxygen getting to your brain, without oxygen moving through your blood vessels to all of your body parts? 8 minutes? I know that he was there dead before he got on the stretcher, before he got to the hospital. There's nothing anybody can say to convince me otherwise that George Floyd was not murdered on that street, period. There's just nothing you can say. And
we'll continue to watch this. The 4 of the officers have been terminated. That, again, like I said for Amy Cooper, it's not enough.
No, this was murder. This was murder. Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis has said it is disgusting. And the state officials have requested the FBI. The FBI has joined. And Alex, I know you and I were talking earlier that the FBI has to agree to step in. They have to make the decision. I will say I've been to Minneapolis before. On all accounts, my experience was it was one of the nicest cities I've ever been to. And not, nice as in architecture or anything like that. But the people there are just, for the most part, genuinely nice. And I had an opportunity to meet Mayor Jacob Frey. Very pleasant man. I will give the city of Minneapolis this much, and it's not much.
How long are you giving them? That's my question.
No, not long. And even the little bit of kudos that I'm about to give are not much. I thank them for, one, firing these officers immediately, not putting them on, paid leave or administrative leave or anything like that. Fired. I am grateful for that because even that does not frequently happen. I am grateful that as they started their investigation, they said, we need the FBI. This goes beyond the Minneapolis Bureau of Investigation. We need to request the FBI's presence, and they did. And the FBI has agreed and came in. That's the end of my kudos. And I still do not want to get to the end of this and not one officer is not in jail. And that says a lot for me because I don't believe in mass incarceration. But
this ain't mass.
This was murder.
This ain't mass incarceration. This is just incarceration. Okay. They need to be they need to go to jail. Like I was saying for Amy Cooper yesterday, you put a hit out on this black man. That's what you did. You put his life in danger. You weaponized the police against a black man. And that's what whiteness gives you the ability to do that. And I don't know, you don't have to acknowledge your privilege. I don't really care if you acknowledge your privilege at all, because my blackness does not enable me to weaponize the police against you ever. You're going to get the benefit of the doubt, whether it's a black officer and a white officer. I've been clear and consistent, not very direct about that. You have the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
So that's that.
I will say, I hope that my goal, I'm trying, because I'm saying it until I actually believe it in this situation, is that communities begin to have conversations. One of the biggest problems I have with mass incarceration is it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't heal anything or anyone. It doesn't bring back the life. But we need to start having conversations about police training. We need to start having conversations about police background checks and mental checks and racism checks and whatever checks and balances we need to implement. We need to start having those conversations. So putting them in jail still isn't enough, because it doesn't heal the problem.
My fear is, and you're right, I don't disagree with you at all. Just my fear with that is we start having police training now. We don't, and I'm for it, because the next generation of blackness needs to be protected and preserved and have an opportunity and a chance.
Right.
Black, brown, and you often apply more grace than I do in most situations, and I just, they need to go to jail. Yeah, this will solve. What to me, what this solves, putting them in jail. I don't think they need to be retrained. They gonna keep
no, they don't. But officers need a different level of training.
Sure, because them staying on the street just gives them the opportunity to. I got you.
I'm done with it. Yeah, my goal overall for the community, though, is that we can have the conversations to move forward and beyond just throwing them in jail. There needs to be some restorative practices for our communities.
Sure. I think I want to lighten this. We were going to talk Joe Biden, but before we talk about the presumptive president, because I have very little to say about that, let's talk about the current sitting president and the problem that he is. I routinely am frustrated by his ignorance and stupidity. It's just at an all-time high.
I just really want. Never mind.
I'll say this: Donald Trump, for the first time ever, has been censored by. Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to say censored, because he was not censored. Fact-checked.
Yes.
His verbiage to you would be that he's been censored, but for the first time ever, the man has been fact-checked, and he should be fact-checked. He's the president of the United States, so he should not be spewing non-facts.
That is correct.
Now, we've talked about voter fraud before, and before we go into this holistically, I'm going to pull this down really quickly. Before we go right into this, we've talked about how there's really no argument for voter fraud by mail. It just never has been.
Right.
Before we get into people on the both sides things, and especially you people that are like, well, he may have a point. I see how people can. Have you ever voted by mail? Have you ever done it? Have you ever looked into it? Before you think that you know how this works, get some facts, and not an article or a meme that you share with no source.
Right.
Donald Trump yesterday posted the following tweet: "There is no way, zero, that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. Mailboxes is actually one word, but mailboxes will be robbed, ballots will be forged, and even illegally printed out and fraudulently signed. The governor of California is sending ballots to millions of people. Anyone living in the state, no matter who they are or how they get there, will get one. That will be followed up with professionals telling all of these people, many of whom have never even thought of voting before, how and for whom to vote. This will be a rigged election. No way. Well, first of all, people that have never voted before but are Americans should indeed exercise their right to vote. And the problem with Republicans, they will own this. They know this. If America actually voted, they would never win. They win because of voter suppression. They win because they lie and they cheat. And this is a great example. This is a beautiful example. You literally said that will be followed up by professionals telling all of these people, many of whom have even never thought of voting. I wonder why. What's beautiful about this image here, Tiff, is that it literally says, get the facts about mail-in votes. So if you're on Twitter,
get the facts. That means truth.
If you're on Twitter, you don't have to worry because they have fact-checked it before. They've fact-checked it for you, which is something that Twitter has said they were going to start doing. They hadn't done it thus far. It was just not something, and those of us that use the platform regularly, I tweet regularly. And I've been waiting on Twitter to actually grow a backbone and do what they've told us they were going to do. So I would lie to you if I told you that I'm not pleased that they're finally doing what they said they were going to do. Now, in the fact check, this is what they told you. What you need to know. Trump falsely claimed that mail-in ballots would lead to a rigged election. However, fact checkers say there is no evidence that mail-in ballots are linked to voter fraud. Trump also falsely claimed that California will send mail-in ballots to anyone living in the state, no matter who they are or how they got there. In fact, only registered voters will receive ballots. Your tweet was false, bro. They should have censored you because censored, they would have deleted your tweet. They would have actually deleted your account because they've deleted people's accounts for much less. I feel like I'm on the edge all the time with the things that I say on that platform. One more report and I'm out that bitch. I really am. 5 states already vote entirely by mail, and all states offer some form of mail-in absentee voting, according to NBC News. Before we move on, what I should say, what I want you all to hear clearly, I want everyone to focus on this fact. Donald Trump himself voted by mail last month. He is now a resident in Florida, and Donald the Trump, your president, actually voted by mail. So what he doesn't want you to do, he just did. Now, that's a fact for your ass. I don't know how to make it more plain, Tiff. I really don't. Now, I did want to say this because, of course, there's one news platform that all of the conservatives watch. They've already came with this. Twitter exec in charge of effort to fact check Trump has a history of anti-Trump posts and called McConnell a bag of farts.
He is a bag of farts.
Well, while there may be some validity to this.
He does look like a bag of farts.
Twitter also responded to Fox News, and what they're saying is no one person makes the decision to fact check anyone. This is done by a group he oversees. But, of course, they did their opposition research. They went on LinkedIn, got his LinkedIn bio, posted it, and his role at Twitter is the head of site integrity. He's not making decisions alone, people. But Trump, let me be clear. The man is not being censored. He should be fact-checked because he lies all day.
So we lost count.
He insults all day. And people are thrown off of that platform all of the time for insults.
Right.
He should have been gone the moment he retweeted Stacey Abrams being Shamu. He should have been gone out of there.
And let's be clear. If this asshat in the White House didn't lie so much, then the fact check, whatever that guy's name was, it wouldn't be an issue because he wouldn't be lying so much. And get the facts about mail-in ballots under there would not have basically said he's lying. It would have said...
I have an example tweet of why in my opinion, he should have been thrown off.
I can't wait to see it. Now, this is just dumb. Obamagate makes Watergate look like small potatoes. No, it doesn't. First of all,
no
Obamagate.
Context. This is how quickly Donald Trump takes over the culture.
Ugh.
Some context. Obamagate just became a thing 31 days ago.
Say it again.
He made it up. There was no Obamagate. But when you let somebody convicted for lying to the FBI out of jail, you needed reasoning, and so you made this up. Now, while some networks don't believe in fact-checking, we just don't happen to work in one of those. Here are the facts on Obamagate. 11.6 million jobs were added.
Million.
Under, let's call it Trumpgate, in just the last 6 weeks, over 45 million jobs have been lost. Healthcare for more than 15 million Americans. He defeated both the Ebola and H1N1 pandemics. Weekly earnings were up 4% after inflation. The S&P 500 index rose 166%. He saved the auto industry. Many of you will remember that. Wind and solar power increased by 369%. He won the Nobel Peace Prize, which you tweet as the Nobel Prize, which no one knows what that is.
Don't.
He's also, these are my favorite, never been impeached.
Ever.
And he was never indicted. And your attempt to indict him as an impeached president look really, really sad.
Right.
You look
dumb.
I'm about to get real black, Tiff.
You look
sad and delusional.
And let's be clear, for those who don't know what Watergate was or is.
Okay. You giving a history lesson? Because how do you not? Okay, that's fair. Do it.
Some people don't.
I'm going to give it to you.
So for those who don't know what Watergate is when President Richard Nixon lied. He stole information, abused his presidential power, and lied. It led to his resignation.
He broke into the DNC. He broke into the Democratic National Committee. He
stole information. Stealing. It was political corruption at its height.
Best.
Period. You cannot compare anything Obama ever did in his 8 years of presidency to what that racist prick of a president did.
Can't do it.
I said what I said. Nixon was a racist prick.
And as long as I'm living, you won't do it.
Won't. So you can't compare this made-up Obamagate to Watergate, which was an actual crime. Asshat. I don't have a better name for him other than asshat. I'm sorry.
I never have. He's been an ass clown for me since
orange or
I literally don't believe in having a bias. I really don't.
I don't either. There are Republicans that they do some things that I'm like, okay, that's not terrible.
I know
there are Democrats that do some things that I'm like, that's trash.
2 minutes, Joe Biden.
Ugh. Okay.
Now that right there, I got to check you. That right there cannot be acceptable. Now, we all feel that way. But for the people that Trump was just talking about that have never voted before, they need some inspiration and a reason to go. Now, for those of you, let me just say this.
My reaction was not to Biden, by the way. It was to this situation.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Okay. I want to say this. Sean Combs, Charlamagne the God, all you assholes out here talking about we need to demand something for our vote, especially those of you with means, that it doesn't really matter who's in office, you'll be good. Shut up. Shut up. Where people need to be demanding things for their vote is in their local elections. Where things change where they are. Demand something from your mayor. Demand something from your governor. Instead of here's something for those of you that don't vote, you've never voted before. You got to take like a 10-minute break from Instagram. I'm not even telling you to get off the platform. Did you know you can actually call your local elected officials, people that you've elected, and tell them what you want? And I know you can find their numbers because all you got to do is use Google. Like you use it for everything else. When you need to make sure, it's a pandemic. You're Googling the number to the local Walmart to see if they're open. Call your damn mayor. Call them and tell them what you want. Write them a letter. Protest outside of there. Do not hold us hostage to another 4 years of Donald Trump because Diddy said so. That's stupid and foolish. Yes, we should be getting something from our presidents. I believe that. I believe that. But this is not the time to start making asinine requests when we don't even make them. We don't even vote in our local elections. It's just not the time. Tip,
You're done. So I always am a proponent of voting in local elections. For those in Georgia and other states, early voting has begun. Make sure that you vote. I get a text message from some organization every day to make sure that I have voted. Now, as far as Biden saying you ain't black if you don't vote for me, there are better ways that he could have said that. And really, when you read the entire or listen to the entire interview, it was trash from the beginning.
I actually thought it was a pretty good interview. But we don't have to agree.
We don't have to agree.
I just thought I felt like what happens in interviews, and I'm giving you some insight as somebody that's been doing them for 16 years. Your ultimate goal is to make the person there feel at home. What I believe happened, I believe Biden got comfortable and he felt like he was talking to his homie Charlemagne. And Charlemagne hit him with a gotcha.
Right. I believe that I say it's trash because the whole back and forth of, him, Biden having to leave and, all of that. I just wish there were some more meat and potatoes in the interview. That's what I mean by trash. I think that, I don't necessarily excuse what Biden said. In this, I don't agree with a lot of what Biden has said. Let me be clear, including him saying that Black parents are dumb.
That they can't read.
And that they can't read. I will say, I am choosing to choose the lesser of two evils. I'm not calling Biden evil either, but I am choosing the lesser of the two that I think can actually not take this country into a tailspin. People are literally dying under this administration. With coronavirus going on, and I said this on a call yesterday, with coronavirus going on, no one's talking about the detainees at the border. No one is talking about the prisoners that are being excluded from the coronavirus counts and those who aren't getting health care. No one's talking about the healthcare disparities in the communities that are impacted the most. No one is talking about, the jobs that are being lost other than the numbers. Okay, screw the numbers. What are we doing about it? No one's talking about those who haven't gotten their unemployment, haven't gotten their stimulus checks, are still struggling to pay bills. With the country reopening in some areas, now companies are going to start looking for those bills to be paid up. Well, we're reopening. You should be able to go back to work now. You should be able to pay these bills. I'm now 2 months, but not me, but people are now 2 and 3 months behind in bills, still haven't gotten a stimulus check, still haven't gotten unemployment, and are still struggling and are going to continue to struggle. We're not talking about those who are now going to be experiencing homelessness or transitional housing because they're in this situation. So when a celebrity or someone with means says we need to be, demanding something for our vote, shut up. I am demanding that I don't have someone in the White House and an entire line of succession of people who don't care about my Black ass. They don't necessarily care about all people that look like me, but they're at least not going to make it to a point where they don't give a rat's ass that our country is dying. Literally, our country is dying.
I think for me, it's about a couple of issues. And I had a guest last week. Kia was here last week. She said, he's not my candidate. I agreed with that. She said, I do believe some of the things I believe in, he will stand for and will get pushed through. Right. Whereas asshole in chief would not. Which is, right. I agree with that as well. I think what I'll say also is the Supreme Court is at hand, okay? We don't get somebody in there. We are looking at almost 2, maybe 3 Supreme Court justices being replaced with conservative candidates. And you can really you can look at this country for the next 30 years and say it's a wash because they're going to put people in there. Trump will be long gone. It's not really about, it's really not about that. So, to me, I think that's one of the major things. And then finally, I think that I think it's important for us to vote in local elections and also vote for our state representatives. You control who's sitting in that Congress. You control both houses. You at home, you literally control that. So a lot of the laws that get passed, the president is sitting there and signing, but we never had a flagrant president. People are like, oh, I love him. He's off the cuff. You know, whatever. He's also a liar, a race baiter, if you don't want to call him a racist. He's literally all of these things. So those are the things I can't stand for. When it comes down to taking advice from the media, because you may loop me in that category. I want you to decide what you want, because I think what you want matters. What you want will help you determine how to make this vote come fall. Ask yourself why he wouldn't want you to country ass. Why he wouldn't want you to vote by mail during a pandemic.
And why he's trying to make the postmaster one of his friends.
Just think about these things.
And if you need help researching, hit me up. I got you. Because
I'm gonna be here. You can come watch. I'll tell you. And you know how we do it at the Nation. This is a collective conversation for everybody. So we talk about what you want to talk about. That's what Unmuted Nation is all about. And for those of you that are just finding us just because you're watching now, we are live at 1 p.m. on Boss FM Talk every weekday. And we talk about things that this entire show is really for you. You can send us an email at comments@unmutednation.com with a voice note. You can literally people have sent me 10-minute voice notes from their iPhone that they made.
Okay, well, don't do that.
They just disagree or they got questions. You can send them. We will plan them. We will play them. We will talk about them here, because this show is where we have to have these conversations. And the reason for this, like, I don't sit here so I can just give you my thoughts. It's really, I want the collective thought, because my mind is not set. It can be changed, just like yours should be able to be set. You know, right. These organizations are out here that, we're leaving the Democrats. Listen, I'm gonna vote for whoever is gonna make my life better.
Right. And so this ain't my show, so I'm not gonna, y'all do all of that. I am going to say there are resources out there. There are resources out there that can help you. For example, on my ballot, there are local ordinances that I have to vote for. And there are, sometimes there's legislation on your ballots, all of that. There are resources out there that will line out. Here is who is sponsoring this. Here is who is voting for this. Here is who's supporting this. Here are the pros. Here are the cons. Here are the impacts. It will literally just lay all of that information out for you, so that you can just go to, and you can look up your ballot before you get to vote. So, just use your resources.
And we're going to do it.
And vote.
This Rona is getting to the best of me. I need to shave. I'm looking at myself like, is my mustache not even? Okay, we're going to leave it there, and we'll keep talking. The cabinet will be back tomorrow. And of course, do this for me. Share this. If you're watching by video, you're listening on the podcast, you're listening live. Share the links. Invite people to the conversation, because it is a collective conversation. Tiff is here. Her show is starting soon. I keep saying that every time she's on, I want to tell you when it's starting. And she came today. She still doesn't have a date. So the moment that I know, you will know. The way that it's lined up, she's actually going to come on before me. So you may be too tired after she's done to listen to me anyway. But how do people keep up with you?
You can keep up with me at Tiff Lanelle on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and .com.
Very good. Thank you, Tiff. Thanks for coming through. Listen, I am Alex Unmuted on everything: Twitter, Instagram.com, and I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. We're live on Boss FM Talk, or we're here on whatever platform you're watching, 10 p.m. Eastern. This cast airs. And listen, these conversations will continue. We're not stopping. We're not threatened. We're not frustrated. But I want you to be a part of them. Okay. So like I say at the end of every show, it may be the end of the night for you. Remember, today is greater. Believe it, speak it, and live it. You have to make the choice to be great. Your situation is not your destination. So instead, Make it your motivation. I'm out. I will see you here tomorrow, right here on The Nation.
Unmuted Nation, weekdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on Boss FM Talk.